Wrestling fans, I'm Dan Mirade.
And this is the man of the hour, Leo Rush.
It was all over BostonWrestling.com and our social media. But Leo, brother, they got to check out some of this merch.
They got to.
Check it out, fans, right now available on eBay. Support Wrestling Insiders and keep wrestling legends working on eBay. Get this Karrion Kross and Scarlett double autographed 11x14 poster from NXT TakeOver in your house, number 19 of only 30 made. Comes with authentication hologram on the poster itself. Also comes with a mystery autographed 8x10 photo and an on-air shout-out from WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas on Wrestling Insiders at your house. Get it now. Boston Wrestling Sports and the MWF explodes into a new year of unknown with professional wrestling content galore, and we need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after we review the previous night's Monday Night Raw, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with the unpredictable WWE Hall of Famer, Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights after WWE NXT and AEW at 10 p.m., you never know who's going to show up on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's No Holds Barred Sex, Drugs, and Rock and Roll journey through the 80s and 90s on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday nights after the lights go down at the Thunderdome on SmackDown, it's John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. If you want early, ad-free access to all of our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and to help keep wrestling legends working during the worst of times, for less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, welcome to our Thursday night kickoff to a doubleheader, a creature double feature, if you will. It's Wrestling Insider Current Events Now, where we're going to break down the February 24th, 2020 editions, well, 2021, it would help if I had the year right, editions of NXT from the Capitol Wrestling Center in Orlando, Florida, as well as AEW Dynamite from Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. Then at the top of the hour at 10 p.m., it is what can only be described as Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. This week we discussed the deaths of the natural Butch Reed, Danny Hodge, a cocaine hunting adventure that Marty and a cocaine hunting adventure that Marty and Coco Beware went on in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania that led to a shootout, and much more. As always, we have interesting topics of conversations on both shows. I am joined by my longtime partner in crime, dating all the way back to early 2008, as far as his first physical appearance in Boston Wrestling MWF goes, Mr. Dave Carter. Dave, it is a pleasure to have you. We're taping much later than we usually do this week.
Yes, we are, but you know what? Better late than never, right?
Linda Mirade is the element of surprise. I was not expecting her to force me out of the studio tonight for a free meal.
Well, that's good.
Well, I enjoyed the meal. Wasn't bad. The check, though, when you see the three digits, it's a little much. But what are you going to do?
Exactly.
Which one of these two blockbusters are we going to break down first? It is at your discretion.
Let's go NXT.
All right, baby, kick it off.
All right, so we kicked off NXT with Dexter Lumis in the ring already. Backstage, they show Gargano with Derry, Candice, and Indy. They head to the ring. They start walking out of the ring like they show them. They start walking out of the ring. We get Dexter Lumis versus Johnny Gargano. We always say it every week. We're liking Lumis a lot. I think he's intriguing. I don't like this Gargano joke style at all, but we say that every week as well. I think he needs to break away from that. The three of them they get involved with the match, the three outside. Obviously, I'm talking about Austin Theory, Candice, and Indy Hartwell. Indy Hartwell looks interested in Lumis during the match. She starts making those eye contacts and everything like that. It was a good match, though. I think it was a great match. I just don't like Gargano's style right now as a joke. It bothers me a lot. I think he could do so much better with all the people with him. You know what I mean? And there was holding a chair, ready to hit Loomis. Ends up running into Theory. Gargano does, which basically sets up Gargano to get put in a submission move by Dexter Loomis, which he taps out to. The match was all right. Like I said, everything was good. I don't really like the joke style. What about you? What did you think of the whole segment and match?
Well, you had Boogeyman Dexter Loomis now seeming to morph more into our old friend here in the MWF, Marty, right by the week. Get a nice non-title match win, which I'm sure will build to rematches down the road. I almost feel like a broken record where I say I hate the heel version of Gargano. It's a waste of his talents.
Right.
When you present someone as a comedic idiot that had a huge following as a babyface, I know it's almost a poor analogy, but it's almost like when they turned Steve Austin after WrestleMania 17. Granted, a much larger audience was watching that at that point, but at the same time, to a lot of the NXT fans, Johnny Wrestling was a god to them, and now
Absolutely.
You're presenting him as a goof with his wife, and instead of the way, they should be called No Way, because I think that type of a creative is usually the way out the door, not for Johnny, but maybe for some of the others involved, and that would be a waste. But a nice non-title match victory for Loomis to maybe head into the next NXT takeover, which I'm not even sure when that is.
Me, they haven't said yet. So
all right, well, I'm not the only one.
From there, we got William Regal running outside looking for Santos Escobar, like if he knows or not if he's there. It was kind of funny because you seen him bolt through the door, right?
He had a lot of energy.
Yeah, looking for him. Obviously, he wasn't there, and he said, if you see him, let him know. They showed I'm going to just go through a few of these, and then you can go through all three of them. And then after that, they showed a nice package of MSK clips, basically coming from, the beginning of NXT when they first started out through the Dusty tournament and everything. It was pretty good. Then they lead off with an interview with them after the promo, the package promo. They get attacked by Grizzly Young Vets, and, that was the whole segment. I don't know. You have anything to say about it?
Well, I mean, I don't know how much of a promo package they're going to put together on a team that has only had 3 matches thus far, but
right.
it was a nice way to showcase them. I think as far as a cruiserweight style goes, there's unlimited potential for them. The only problem is on the main brands, there really isn't much of an uptick when it comes to the cruiserweight size or style.
Right on. From there, we got Tyler Rust with Malcolm Bivens. They come down to the ring. They show Bivens talking to Leon Ruff. Like, they come down to the ring, but then they show like what led to this match that's about to happen. They show Bivens talking to Leon Ruff, asking him if he would like to fight tonight. Ruff obviously accepts. Bivens gets on the mic. Now we're in live time. Gets on the mic and says, the success you think of is Tyler Rust. Whenever you think of success, you think of Tyler Rust, pretty much. He will prove tonight why he's a diamond in the rust. They have like a little cute little slogan thing they've been doing.
That's a cute one.
Yeah, I know you probably get a chuckle every time. From there, we get Tyler Rust versus Leon Ruff. As Ruff is walking down to the ring, he gets attacked by Swerve Scott. Basically, Swerve Scott starts beating him up, putting him on the commentator table, and just keeps on saying, I want the opportunities that this guy gets. And, I don't know how I feel about it, because you got Leon Ruff as a jobber, then you got him as like in a story now. I don't know. It's like flip flop. What about you?
I just think involving Scott with these two at all is a waste of time at this point. I'm not really sold on Leon. I don't think they need both Leon and Drake on the same roster at the same time. Russ, to me, is just either rusty or whatever potential he has inside of him for the King of Sports. Just it has not danced into my eyes as of yet. I think Swerve Scott is fantastic. He's someone I'd try and protect in the creative, but at the same time, the way he was presented last night, almost like, a brawler or a tough guy. I wasn't necessarily buying that.
Right on.
If that makes any sense.
No, right on. I totally get it. That's what I mean. So it's like hard, because if Leon Ruff's built as a jobber, but then you haven't beaten him up, I don't know. It's a little flip flop right now. From there, we get Zoe Starks and Regal shaking hands out back, welcoming her to NXT. Then we get another promo, which is Crimes watching Ted DiBiase clips, which will end up being an ongoing trend throughout the night. Ask somebody if they can dribble the ball 10 times for $1,000. And the guy does it, obviously, but he doesn't get how he did it. He's confused. And the guy goes, you need to watch the rest of the clip to find out why, he ends up not dribbling it. So, they do a little funny thing like that. Find out that Kyle O'Reilly's out 4 to 6 weeks. So you can go from, like I said, from all those. I just figured I'd add them all up.
There's a lot of hits and misses in there. These Cameron Grimes, Ted DiBiase skits were just, independent level. A shame that O'Reilly's going to be out, but you know what? It's a good way to sell the injury. Maybe that is going to be more along the timeline of the build for the next NXT takeover. I can't imagine they're going to do on WrestleMania weekend, where WrestleMania 37 is going to be a 2-night extravaganza of the year from Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. So I'm going to make an educated guess that TakeOver gets its own special, maybe late April, early May. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll see.
I wish they'd go back to Saturdays, as I think I've said.
That was all. Yeah, me too. Absolutely. We got Io Shirai versus Zoe Starks, the newcomer. She had one match last week. Then she finally gets a new match, I guess, against the champion.
Against the champion. Yeah, that made a lot of sense.
It was actually a pretty good match, though. I'm not gonna lie. It didn't bother me as much as some of them always do. Zoe has potential. It was a long match, though.
Very long.
Surprised they let Zoe get as much offense in as she did and go for so long. But I guess they must definitely see something in her. Io Shirai wins by pinfall. Then Toni Storm comes out. She says you're willing to fight anyone but her. She says you can't beat her. Io says she will fight her anytime, any place, anywhere. Toni tells her to prove me wrong. Go talk to Regal and make the match. So that was the match. Anything to say about it in the aftermath of it?
Yeah, I was very happy that the Io Shirai poster on the set sold on the Boston Wrestling eBay store that's open 24/7 around the corner, around the world. Very, very happy that sold. To the fine bidder, you're going to get an on-air thank you from Mr. USA, Tony Atlas. And I believe I have one more. I think we got 2 of them when they came in. So if you are a big EO fan, if you want to get an autographed, beautiful color poster with the WWE authentication hologram right on it, one of only 30 posters made, I believe I have a second one we're going to put out sometime soon. I just have to, how this stuff here, there, and everywhere in this studio, and then my house, and then the storage bin that we rent out. So we got merch galore. If you're an EO fan, we will not let you down. If you want to relive NXT TakeOver in your house from this summer, every day on your wall. As far as the feud goes, I guess you could do worse than EO and Toni Storm, but it is what it is.
Yes, sir. From down there, we get Gargano gets walking out back, gets stopped by McKenzie. Gargano says all you had to do was hit Loomis with the chair. He's talking to Theory about it. Theory says he didn't deserve that, and he just misunderstood. Gargano misunderstands Loomis, which I don't really understand now what's going on. Like I said, it's just a big mess.
No one understands anything at this point.
Right. Gargano tells Theory he's going to therapy. And like he's listening, like we
maybe Dr. David Reese is involved for all we know.
Right, and I like we always say, Theory shouldn't be used like this. Gargano doesn't need to be used like
waste. Yep.
Theory has a lot of potential, and you even said you see him as a main eventer someday. And for him to be doing this, what are you going to show as clips in NXT as being a lackey to Gargano? I don't know.
To a 5'6" imbecile, yeah.
Right. I don't know if you have anything else to say to that promo.
Yeah, that just about sums it up.
All right. From there, we got another one of those Grimes things. He's backstage in the parking lot this time. Says he watched all the clips this time and asks and knows what to do now. He asked the lady to dribble 10 times for $1,000. She stands up, and she's a big woman. She was a big woman. I was like, I was
like
shocked.
Jenna Kufa.
Yeah, right? And she dribbles 10 times because she does a little trick between her legs and stuff, and he has to pay again. And he gets wicked mad, gets upset. I don't know if you have anything to add to this.
Nope. I just think it's a poor man's Ted DiBiase from back in 1987 and skits that actually got over because it was a character that was over before they started to do it, as opposed to taking an indie guy and all of a sudden one week he's rich, and they continue to come up with poor humor that I guess would appeal to those that are, well, I'm not going to go too far in that direction, but just those with maybe limited senses of humor. How about that?
Well, that's the thing. And if they're going to do this, why do him that character? Why not be like, you could use Ted DiBiase in this role. Have him be like, and have him be the $1 million champion or something. Like, why is he just a knockoff $1 Million Man. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't really make any sense.
I wish they called and asked for my opinion before they began, because I would have given them a very different suggestion.
Exactly. From there, we got another women's match: Katie Cazzero versus Xia Li, which I really am. Oh, Xia Li's fantastic. She's really good. She's got a great entrance. I don't know what you think of her entrance. I think it's really cool. I see a lot of potential in her. I put that there. Cazzero was on the steps, and basically Xia Li slams her leg against the steps, drags Casey by her hair all the way back into the ring. I love the aggression by Xia Li. I really do. I think she's got a lot of potential. I don't know how she speaks. She hasn't really cut such a promo yet, and I'm guessing it's going to be like an Oscar kind of promo.
I hope not, but I wouldn't be surprised.
You haven't really heard her speak either, right?
No.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how she does with her English or not. Ref stops the match because Cazzero just can't continue. Kaden Carter tries to figure out why Xia Li just is doing what she's doing. Xia Li tells Kaden she's next. You know, it's going to continue, I think, until we finally figure out who the guy is in the chair. And then you got Boa. Boa, is that his name?
Boa,
yeah. You know, I don't know. We'll figure this out as it goes on. At least I guess it's trying to tell a story there.
It's like unsolved mysteries from back in the late 80s. We're trying to figure out what is going on with Xia Li and Boa and this mystery person.
Yeah. Would you have anything to add to it?
No, not much.
Okay. Again, William Regal, no one told him that he wasn't there, so he had to run outside again, and he looks around for Escobar. Still can't find him. I don't really understand why he keeps on going out there. If you already asked someone, they'll tell him when he's there.
I guess they don't have many security cameras there, as we saw with Retribution over the summer.
Right? Then we get another Grimes backstage segment, calls over a guy, tells him to dribble the ball 10 times for $1,000. He starts dribbling, and this time Grimes just punches him. The money goes all over the place. Grimes starts laughing, celebrating that he did it, and walks away. But he left the money. So, like, I don't know. I know what you're going to say, so go ahead.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yep, there you go.
That was 3 strikes and you're out as far as that goes. It was not good by any stretch of the imagination.
Yep. This isn't a good way to build Grimes at all, like we were talking about. From there, we get a tag team match. We get Drake and Killian Dane versus Grizzly Young Vets, which is James Drake and Zach Gibson. We get a promo by Grizzly Young Vets calling Drake. I wrote this. I thought this was kind of fun. Calling Drake and Dane Shrek and Donkey. I actually laughed at that. I thought it was
kind of funny. Yeah.
Yeah. Dane is a beast, I put. I really think he has potential to be something special, but he's stuck with Drake, which Drake isn't a bad wrestler. That's the thing. He's not bad. He just doesn't belong there. He belongs on 205 Live. I think he honestly would add a lot to that. But for some reason, Dane's stuck with him, and it just holds him back.
Sure does.
I actually wrote, you know what? And I wrote Grizzly Young Vets win by pinfall. And then from there, we got what was it? Oh, no, sorry. We have to go. Okay, so go ahead. You can tell me about the match. I'll go into this little thing.
I like the Grizzled Young Veterans, everything except their name. As I noted earlier in the show, I don't think any one wrestling roster needs both Drake Maverick and Leon Ruff on it, unless they're being used as enhancement talent. Dane, I think going all the way back to, if I remember correctly, Royal Rumble 2017, when he was kind of one of the last guys to get eliminated from the Rumble. I thought at that point they had really big hopes and expectations for the man, but now 4 years later, he still hasn't left NXT as, what the hell was their name, that faction's name in WWE? With Eric Young and...
Oh, the Sanity.
Sanity, that's right. Yeah, that was a complete and utter disaster because they had not one creative idea for them after they debuted, and now he's back in NXT, missing, I'm sure, his lady love, Nikki Cross, but... hopefully better days are ahead for Killian Dane. Again, I like the veteran team, even though I don't like their name. I'd like to see that changed up a little bit. As far as Drake Maverick goes, nice guy, but if I never saw him on my wrestling screen again, it would not bother me.
Right on. I mean, I do agree with that to a point, but I think he would add some to 205 Live. But
maybe,
anyway,
but I don't watch that, so I really wouldn't know.
But there you go. From there, we get a black SUV showing up. It's Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza get out, and they stand by the door. So obviously we know that means Escobar has arrived. And this is what I was going to get into because this was right after that. Killian Dane was carrying Drake backstage. Alexander Wolf from the Imperium comes up to him and walks over and says, what's this? What are you doing? You used to be a monster. And Dane looks at him, thinks about it, and just continues saying, I need some help here. I need some help. So I'm hoping they're ending this soon, and we're going to get the Killian Dane we're talking about. But I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know if you have anything to add to that stuff.
I hope it happens.
Okay. So then we get the match. It's weird because you see Cross's music starts. So I'm thinking they're going to the ring, but they don't. They end up having a camera out back, and Cross attacks Wilder and Mendoza out back. Match starts in the parking lot, like I said. We get Santana Escobar versus Karrion Kross, obviously. They shut the box truck back door on friggin' Cross's head. You know what, though? I use one of those all the time. They're not light, so that was kind of I like that. I didn't mind that at all. He sold it well because those do hurt if you get hit. I just had my fingers shut on one.
No good.
Yeah, no good at all. Escobar ends up locking himself inside the truck. He rips off the mirror. It was kind of funny. I mean, it is what it is. Just simple backstage brawl, whatever you want to call it. Escobar ends up beating up Cross a little bit, slams him into the truck. They basically, his lackeys, Escobar and Wild Wild and Roman Mendoza drag Cross into the arena. There was a lot of good action, hard hitting. Escobar doesn't look like your traditional cruiserweight, which I like, because him to Cross, it didn't look bad. You know what I mean? Because usually when you think of a cruiserweight, you don't think of somebody that big.
Yeah.
So I like the visual a lot. I noticed that. Cross slams Mendoza against the plexiglass, which was crazy. You seen that, right? When he just took him and threw him against that plexiglass border. You know, the one that
hummed him. Yep.
Yeah, from the crowd. Cross and Escobar end up getting suplex through the table. Cross win by pinfall. I thought it was a decent match. A good way to, hide anything that was going to be in the ring and basically just make it more of a brawl. I didn't mind that at all. What about you?
I thought it was kind of an odd pairing between the two of them, but again, non-title match, no disqualification. The body of work itself was good.
Right on.
Nothing I'd really want to see repeatedly again and again, but for what it was one time, I thought it was good.
Okay, good. From there, we get LA Knight, a little promo. He's in his car this time, says it's his game. He'll debut on his time. Basically, every star holds the golden ticket to getting their ass stomped, he said. Pretty much, he's going to arrive when he wants to. It could be, he said, a day, a week, a month, a year. It's on his time. I'm excited to see him. I know you're not sold on him completely, but I think he's going to impress you when you finally get to see him. Because I know you probably didn't watch him much in Impact because you obviously didn't get the chance.
Yeah, and what little I did see, I wasn't a big fan of. But like I said, I'm trying to be open-minded. Maybe under a new leadership with a fresh coat of paint, maybe he's got a lot to contribute to WWE.
Right on. Then we get which is, I guess, the main event, but it's more just the last segment of the night.
Right.
Adam Cole comes down to the ring, which, they went over time. Do they always do that? I never look
I know. Do you ever set a DVR to record it?
What'd you say?
Do you ever set a DVR to record the show
No,
or no?
I watch it live. That's why, and I never look at the time.
The DVR is usually, I think it goes to 8 or 9 past.
Okay.
A lot of some, and it doesn't always go over every week, but I think they just have it allotted to them in case they need it.
I just felt like the show was long. That's why I looked up and I looked at the time and I'm like, oh my God, it's past.
Yeah,
but
I'd say half the time it goes past 10 at least.
So we got Adam Cole coming down to the ring. He says the NXT championship means a lot to him. Doesn't like the guy he has become. Pretty much, we think he's going to, he's becoming undisputed again with the team. Didn't like what he did to O'Reilly. Doesn't appreciate what he did to him pretty much. He doesn't like O'Reilly getting all the opportunities, though. He says that too. But they can't, what do you say? He was dead wrong for Kyle doing what he did to him in the ring. He made a stupid mistake. He's so sorry. Is going to try and fix everything. Then Roderick Strong comes out and says, wow, you feel bad now. Strong is pissed pretty much. He says everything has changed now. It was built on trust, Undisputed was, and you ruined it. Basically, Kyle will heal, but he doesn't, how should I put this in words? Kyle will heal, but doesn't know what Kyle will do to him when he comes back in the 4 to 6 weeks. Finn comes out and basically just runs down to the ring, attacks Cole and Strong. Finn goes outside the ring. Then Cole hits him with the super kick. Cole starts saying to Roddy, you got you got to listen to me. You got to believe me, please. They look at each other. They start, basically, doing that little handshake, looking at him. Everything's good. And as soon as Strong, stands up, Cole hits him with a low blow, tells him he's stupid, and then stupid kicks him, and basically stands over Strong. And, basically the turn is not going back to being undisputed. Cole looks like he's going to be by himself, and Undisputed Era isn't going to be any more with him in it. I don't know. I kind of liked it because they, it was like what's the word? Like it changed your emotions. You thought he was going to really do it. You thought him and Strong were going to make up, and then he low blows him. I kind of liked it. I didn't mind it at all. And honestly, if this is a way to get Cole out Undisputed to bring him up to the main roster, I'm cool with it. What did you think of the whole segment?
I have to say, I'm a big faction guy. I'd like to see them stay together as a faction, but who knows what creative plans may land for them on Raw or SmackDown. And I don't necessarily think they're going to be pretty considering the size of the guys involved. I almost felt like, again, where you had Cole rip the, I don't know if it was a necklace or a chain off of Strong. It was like the second 1987 WWF angle of the night they stole. First, you had $1 Million Man Ted Grimes doing the basketball angle, and then Adam Cole morphed into Andre when he ripped the chain off of Hulk Hogan's neck on Piper's Pit to set up 93,000 at the Pontiac Silverdome. I do not see this angle doing that kind of business, but I guess stranger things have happened in wrestling.
Right on.
The Pontiac Silverdome has been torn down, so they could at least try it in the parking lot, I guess, and socially distance.
Yeah, so
it wasn't a bad angle.
Right on. Do you like Cole not being so? I know you said you like the factions, but are you okay with Cole not being part of it anymore?
I haven't made up my mind yet.
Now,
if you would have put a gun to my head right now, I'd say keep them as a faction.
Do you see potential in Cole like a main eventer?
In WWE?
Yes.
No, as I think it's nothing against his talent, but he kind of has the body of a little boy.
Yeah,
he's got a small chest, small arms, small legs. Remember when they did that angle when they introduced him, when they took out Drew McIntyre at the takeover in Brooklyn? It was like he was attacked by a little child.
Oh,
and I'm not trying to downplay the man. That's what Mother Nature gave him. But
I'm hoping WWE can hide that some way. You know what I mean? Like hide, like
you can't hide his size.
No, but like hide him by doing other things, like they did with Rey Mysterio, things like that. Because honestly, he can cut a promo, man. He can work. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I think he's better off staying exactly where he is. But again, how many of those guys can you keep in NXT forever? For one, Raw and SmackDown are desperate for fresh faces. And for two, it'll just make for a repetitive and boring NXT if they keep the same guys there forever.
Yeah, true too. I agree with that. The grade for NXT, I'm going to go with 6 out of 10.
Wow. Well, I was a little lower than you this week, so we disagree again. I gave it a 4 out of 10. The cross match I enjoyed. The Cole promo was some good stuff. Other than that, honestly, the whole show felt like a poor man's Raw or SmackDown sports entertainment as opposed to what was a normal NXT program each week. I was disappointed. I thought the quality was lacking.
Yeah, I'm not. That's true. I liked a lot of the some of the wrestling. I did love the Cole stuff, like I said, because it made me different emotions. You didn't know what was going to happen. The crime stuff made me laugh. Obviously, it wasn't anything to write home about, but it made me laugh at least. So, whatever.
Does it remind you of one of your old Flames, Crystal Grimes?
No.
No. Just making sure.
But that's NXT.
Well, you liked it more than I did. What do you guys think? If you're watching during the live premiere Thursday night at 9, the premiere chat is ongoing. I can't even say to my right because I'm not on screen as this is podcast style, but let us know what you thought of the show. We're always interested in your comments. Right now, we're going to take a brief time out, check out some cool merch with one of our great friends. Again, that eBay store is open 24/7, and if you want to help keep Wrestling Legends working, if you want early ad-free access to our 4 in-studio Wrestling Insiders shoot interview talk shows each week, access to that acclaimed DVD library, the studio shoot DVDs that have been seen by millions online, millions more on The Howard Stern Show. There's only one place to be, patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Let's help keep the Wrestling Legends working. We'll be back after this brief Time out.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Mirade.
And I'm Mr. USA WWE Hall of Famer Tony Atlas.
The road to WrestleMania has begun. Wrestling fans are looking to add to their man caves. You got to see what we have in the eBay store.
Check it out.
Support Wrestling Insiders and keep wrestling legends working on eBay. Get this limited edition WWE NXT Johnny Gargano personally autographed 11x14 comic book style poster, a great addition to the collection of any Johnny Wrestling or NXT fan direct from WWE. Also comes with a mystery autographed 8x10 photo and an on-air shout-out from WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas on Wrestling Insiders at your house. Get it now. All right, wrestling fans, welcome back. That beautiful collectible can be yours. It's WrestleMania season, the eBay store. I have to thank you guys. It's been a very good month after a couple of slow months. Even Christmas month was slow. I don't know what the heck was going on in February. Maybe your hearts opened up for Valentine's. But nonetheless, now we have discussed NXT. It is time to run down AEW Dynamite from Daly's Place in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm not sure if Daly's Place was named after another one of Dave's old Tinder flames, Ursula Daly, but we'll have to wait and see.
No, it wasn't, but nice one. All right, so AEW Dynamite. We kicked it off with Jon Moxley all upset, walking down like he means business down the hallways, heading down to the ring. You know, he was pumped up, I guess, really upset. He faced the Hollywood hunk Ryan Nemeth versus Jon Moxley, like I said. I put Ryan Nemeth. He's not that bad. He's got some good drop kicks. I don't know how you felt about him. You can talk about it in a second. I like Moxley. It was a quick match, which it should have been, I felt like. Moxley won by pinfall. We got a promo after. Basically, he says, I woke up with the AEW title. I'm like, really? You've been without it for a couple months now. He will get it back. He talks about the exploding barbed wire death match that he's going to be having March 7th, right? That's the date?
Sunday, March the 7th. You are correct.
Okay. Sure. And basically ask, how do you feel about that kind of match? Basically asking the fans and Kenny Omega. He's addicted to wrestling, he says. He loves wrestling. It makes his heart pump. Promo went too long for me. He kept repeating the same exact things. I thought the promo wasn't needed that long for sure. Let's say you.
I was happy that this wasn't one of those quote-unquote enhancement matches that turns into a 50-50 match where a green guy or a guy with no talent gets half the match on the established star. I thought the match was well worked. Obviously, Moxley wasn't in there with Dolph Ziggler, but the brother did a serviceable job. I didn't think the promo was that bad. Maybe it was a little long. I don't recall either way off the top of my head how long it went, but it did hold my attention. I do suggest to fans that are AEW fans, which I imagine you are if you're listening at this point, Friday night for Wrestling Insider Fabulous Fridays after SmackDown, John Cena Sr. and I have a really interesting episode about a lot of things going on in AEW. I encourage you to check that out. But as far as the opening match goes, I thought it was good. You got some star power on the screen right away, and obviously the right man won. Headed into the main event of AEW Revolution.
Right on. From there, we get another match. It was the Varsity Blondes, which is Brian Pillman Jr. versus Griff Garrison versus Ricky Starks and Brian Cage. I put all four guys have really a lot of potential, I think. Love Ricky Starks. It was a good match. Say it every week, and I'll say it again. Brian Cage is a beast. He's very good, too, for his size. He's very good. Brian Cage and Starks get the win by pinfall, but I do like the Varsity Blondes a lot. I think Brian Pillman's really good, and I know you like him a lot too, definitely.
Absolutely. I'm a big Brian Pillman Jr. fan for what he can do in the ring. I think he is still, I don't know if I'd go as far as to call him green right now, but there's still a lot of potential in him that is untapped that we have yet to see. Once he has 2, 3, 4 more years under his belt, I can't wait to see what Brian Pillman is going to be doing and whatever promotion he is in at that point. I just hope he'll still be able to compete here in Boston Wrestling MWF.
Right on. Then,
and I have to continue to say, I know you like Cage, but on the flip side of the coin, I just think that size-wise, maybe a hindrance to him, but just as far as the raw materials go, Ricky Starks is just such a great heel.
Oh, yeah.
He reminds me of a much smaller, early 1998 Rock.
Hell yeah.
He's got it going on. Why WWE let him go? why no other national promotions tried to sign him up and let him, I don't want to say fizzle, but I mean, whatever the NWA was supposed to be. I'm glad he's in a good place right now, getting some good national exposure.
Oh, yeah. From there, they stayed in the ring, obviously, Rick Starks, Brian Cage, because they show a promo on the screen. Then it starts snowing. Sting walks out with a body bag. Hook is in the bag. Darby flies down to the ring, shades of WrestleMania 12. Remember Shawn Michaels?
The boyhood dream came true at Daly's place in Jacksonville, Florida, in front of 380 people.
I know. The thing is, I can't believe they actually used it just because you haven't seen that for so long. But like I said, Darby flies down on a zip line, starts cleaning house with Sting, using the skateboard, everything. Sting is beating on Cage, gives him the Scorpion Death Drop. I honestly enjoyed the segment. I thought it was good. You finally got to see some of them together and do some damage. I didn't mind it. What about you?
At least it felt like something was happening, as opposed to, Tony Schiavone and the puffy winter blazer introducing Sting for the same interview over and over again. And Taz's faction would either be on the stage and be castrated, where it was about 6-on-2, or they'd be out in the parking lot, either or. So, I thought it was interesting that something actually happened. I liked the body of work. I thought it was a fair tag team match. Again, both Garrison and Pillman have a lot of potential. I think they can grow into themselves. And I think the same could be said for Ricky Starks. I know he's not exactly a newcomer, but, I think he's someone with regular work on television, on a national promotion, is someone that's only going to get better. So I thought it was a really good segment. I give Alan a lot of credit for having the balls to do that stunt that he did on that zip line. That is something that I would not do unless maybe one of the Mirade children's lives were in peril. But other than that, I would not be on that zip line. So I give him credit. And, Sting had the easier job of the two, I guess.
Right on. From there, they're never going to give this up, that wedding stuff. Yeah. We got Arrow, Kip, and Penelope still talking about the wedding mess. Someone sends a note. Basically, they're doing it as like a little high school thing, circle if you like me or not. But it was, will you face me at Revolution? It was Chucky D sending him, and Miro goes, "This is childish. I can't stand it." I don't even understand. How is Miro like this in AEW? He's a kid. He's just doing stupid joke stuff. I don't understand.
And this is a man that wasn't happy with how he was being utilized in WWE.
Well, that's what I wanted to go on at the end when we talk about that. I have like a little, basically I want to talk a little heat with you real quick after this.
That's fine.
We'll save for that because I have something to say about all of it. From there, we get Brandon Cutler versus Jake Hager. Hager is overpowering Cutler in the whole match. Cutler gets some high-flying moves in. One big, huge dive to the outside. You know how that AEW rolls with that.
Oh, yeah.
Hager hits a nice clothesline, gets the pinfall. Inner Circle comes out, attacks Cutler after. Young Bucks come out, super kick everyone to help Cutler. Bucks promo, don't want to wait till Revolution. Get your ass out there now. Jericho and MJF are base hits, and they're shown on the big screen. And they show, what did we say last week? Of course, they're involved. He's shown all bloody, and they smash him into Nick. Then they smash him into Matt, and I'm talking on the back of the truck, and basically left laying, tell him the Bucks to come pick up the trash.
John Cena Sr. of AEW.
Right. There you go. They show the Bucks father. Well, go ahead. You can talk about that promo, then I'll go when they come back. I'll talk about that.
I thought the match was I thought the promo was pretty good. At least it built up interest in the match itself, which is obviously what you're trying to do with your free TV shows. I thought, Papa Buck took one for the team. I'm going to guess it wasn't a blade job, but that's fine. You didn't need it in these theatrics. I just think I'll say this. It seems like there's almost too many gimmick matches on this pay-per-view coming up.
Right on.
I'm a big fan of one, maybe two if you got a lot going on, but not half the show.
Right. Everything has some kind of stipulation.
Yeah, too much, I think.
They come back from commercial, and we get the Bucks' father getting on a stretcher, getting put into the ambulance. We get a match. Isaiah Cassidy with Matt Hardy versus Hangman Adam Page. I like Isaiah's look a little bit. I think he has some potential. Matt Hardy and Hangman bickering the whole match. It was a good match, but it was long. Adam Page wins by pinfall. Matt Hardy says, "You choose the Dark Order over Matt Hardy." Matt Hardy throws one of the members off the stage into a table, like, because he was up top and he took one of the members of the Dark Order and threw him off into a table. I don't know any of the Dark Order's name, so I can't even name them.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can, but
No.
what do you think? Next segment, what do you think, Isaiah Cassidy?
I think Isaiah Cassidy has a lot of potential. Good egg. And I wish him the best. Paige, I think, as we've noted, could probably go to just about any promotion and walk in right now and be a main eventer. The bell-to-bell here was fine, but everything else surrounding it was just so piss poor, and it's part of the reason why I get frustrated with AEW. I would just dissolve the Dark Order and either get rid of them, repackage them, give them time off, give them a fresh coat of paint, put them on Dark or the new show coming up exclusively. Because right now, honestly, every time you see them, they remind you of something sad in the passing of Brody Lee. And they're supposed to be heels, and now they're just like the seven dwarves of stupidity. I mean, they serve no real purpose. They're not over. Their matches aren't very good. I don't understand why you put that on television week after week. The gimmick sucked to begin with. I don't think Brody Lee was used better in AEW than WWE as Mr. Brody Lee. I wish WWE did a lot more with Luke Harper, but I think Luke Harper was more over than Brody Lee as far as the actual gimmick goes. I would eliminate Dark Order and then Matt Hardy. Like I said, how many different personalities can one man have in 6 months in a new promotion? He attacks one of the useless Dark Order members, and of course, he has to throw him through a table. Because on every wrestling show every week, apparently someone has to go through a table. Do you remember, you young man, WWF In Your House, Good Friends, Better Enemies, the month after WrestleMania 12, April 1996, when Kevin Nash looked like he was going to powerbomb Shawn Michaels on the floor, yet he turned and powerbombed Shawn Michaels through the table to the stun, the astonishment of everyone in Omaha, Nebraska, and now you see it on every single wrestling show every week. Every week. I hate it. I hate Matt Hardy, not personally, but I just hate the fact that all of his gimmicks suck. They're uninteresting. They change too quick. There's no explanation as to how he went from being the psycho with Larry Fine from the Three Stooges like hair to all of a sudden being this billionaire agent. He was a tag team specialist trying to groom the private party. Now he's what's the guy's name that I'm trying to think? I'm getting all hot under the collar right here. The Scott Boras of AEW trying to recruit all of these talents for the 30%. It's just, come on. Who the fuck wants to see that?
Right on. I know. I can't disagree with any of that. You said it perfectly. From there, we get Don Callis and Kenny Omega. Don says Kenny's basically working. You see Kenny slamming a hammer against some metal thing. They're working on, I guess, the chamber or whatever it is, the barbed wire match stuff. No idea. I don't understand it. I don't really understand what they were trying to get.
Alex Marvez gets some odd assignments, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Right. What do you even understand what they were working on? They never really made it clear.
I think he called it the Moxley Extermination Chamber, which I'm not. What is it? I have no idea. To me, it sounded almost like something from the Holocaust.
Right. Like they would just. He just kept on hanging. It reminded me of like Undertaker. You remember when?
That's what I was. Yeah, I was just going to say that when Undertaker was making the Kamala coffin in 1992. Yeah. I guess it was a way to get him on TV without wasting him in a match. Maybe. I don't know. I just don't know why Alex Marvez and the camera always seem to show up
and find out some stupid ass crap.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, well.
Then this. I love it. Nyla Rose versus Dr. Britt Baker. This took up almost the whole 9 o'clock, 9:20 to like 9. It was so long. This is the longest women's match I think they've had on the show. I literally, Dan, I couldn't believe it. I was baffled that they had to go this long. You want to build up these wrestlers, you can't have them wrestle this long. This is too much. Nyla Rose won by pinfall, advanced in the tournament. I don't have anything to say about it other than it was just a match.
It sucked. Is what you can add to it. It had, where AEW, to their credit, wants to try and be different, try and be progressive. Why, now that especially that they're adding the Monday night 7 p.m. show, why can't they be the company that presents the one exclusive national women's wrestling show? I just want one company to do it, to let us have one national promotion, be all men and not have to suffer through this dog shit like we did last night. It had no business on this show. It went way too long. I don't know what happened to poor Vicky Guerrero. Yeah. Wasn't she with Nyla Rose? Wasn't that her protege?
I don't know. Yeah, she was there for a hot minute. And then...
Well, I hope Vicky isn't ill or anything that's kept her from being on TV, but it just sucked. I mean, I can't even knock it. It just sucked.
Yep. Oh, I know. Well, I have nothing to add to it. I was disappointed in AEW because it was just awful. From there, we get the main event, which was Lance Archer versus Rey Fenix. I loved what he called Archer's presentation in this match. He looks just so much bigger than Rey Fenix. It's so. I really like that. Rey Fenix is a great high flyer. He's a good wrestler. He just looks so undersized against Archer. It was a great match. So Archer can wrestle, man. He can go. I can't wait for WWE to maybe get a chance at him when AEW, his contract's up, man. Because I think, honestly, WWE could make something out of him. You know what I mean?
Well, they had the chance, and they sure dropped the ball.
But he wasn't yet from New Japan and all that. Like, he hadn't went through all that yet. I feel like they could have maybe offered him, but I don't know if AEW got him first or whatever. But I put it was a very long match. Archer walked. Did you see when he walked on top of the rope all the way to the middle and did that flip?
Yeah, very impressive.
Yeah.
Almost too much for a guy of his size, but that's just nitpicking.
Yeah, I've heard that said by like Jim Cornette that sometimes when you're a big guy, you shouldn't do stuff like that because you just should be built as the big guy. I get the way you're saying there. Lance Archer won the match by pinfall. Archer and Phoenix at the end. Archer grabs Phoenix's head, basically tells him to fist bump. They fist bump, and that's how AEW went off the air. Anything to add to the match?
I thought it was a good match. Again, for an overbooked pay-per-view, I don't know why they need to have a ladder match on the show with all the other gimmick matches that they have. But as far as Archer and Phoenix's work goes, it was good. It was a serviceable main event, even if not two of the biggest stars in the company.
Right on. I can't disagree with that at all. Grade-wise, I'm going to go with, honestly, and you're probably actually higher than me, I'm going to go a 4 out of 10.
Wow, we're flip-flopping. Looking back at it now, this is why, folks, I always grade it with my gut as soon as the show ends. Because after this review, there's no way I'd go this high. I actually gave it a 6 out of 10. I don't know if it's because I liked it, because just the ambiance is so different than all of the WWE shows where everything almost feels like it's identical, episode after episode after episode. But when you put on AEW, for better or worse, at least it looks like it's something a little different. You know what I mean? And I think that means something in 2021. The work on the show was just, I'm looking back at the matches now. Moxley was all right. The tag team match was all right. The Sting angle was pretty good. Hager and Cutler was The Young Bucks Jericho angle was all right. Page and Cassidy, the match was all right, but from there it went downhill in a hurry for the next hour or so. And then the main event, it ended on a positive note. So maybe I would have been better off going 5 out of 10, but as I watched it, I gave it 6 out of 10.
And that's what I was just going to say. I could have went 5 because you're right. The first hour was pretty good, and then the last part was good. But that Nyla Rose, man, I think, because I wrote my grade right after, and just seeing that made me just go, ugh, I couldn't.
Really slowed down the show and killed the show.
Slowed down everything.
And the whole that Dark Order nonsense. That just needs to go.
Yeah, that's too much. And I know they keep me around because you know why, because they're keeping the kid in and stuff. But it's like,
well. Like I said, if you're an AEW fan, I really think you'll enjoy, if you enjoy talk about AEW, the episode of Wrestling Insider's Fabulous Friday we have tomorrow night after SmackDown on the YouTube channel, where myself and John Cena Sr. give an interesting perspective on our thoughts of all elite wrestling. You might think that Mr. Cena would be negative towards the company, where his son has been such a mainstay in WWE since 2002, but you also might be surprised. So we implore you to head on over to the YouTube after this video, set a reminder to join us tomorrow night at 10 so you don't miss us. We have a lot of fun during the premieres. We have a lot of fans now commenting about your love of the chocolate, Dave, Haitian women.
Right on.
All right,
the news and notes.
That really quick. All right. Yes, please.
I want to just get into I want to hear your opinion and all of it too, real quick for news and notes. First, we might as well talk about it. Paul White signing with AEW. I don't know. To me, the only thing that bugs me about the whole entire thing is how I read everybody so excited about it, because when this guy was in WWE, people were chanting to retire. Please retire.
Please retire. Bum,
Why?
bum,
Why
bum, bum,
is he
bum.
wrestling? WWE is so out of touch. But now that AEW signs him, all these IWC people are going crazy about it. Woo! I can't believe it. He signed. Oh my God, the matches we're gonna get. Are you kidding me? Like, it bothers me so much because they can crap on WWE everything about it when they do it. And then what happened? Now they love him. Same thing with Matt Hardy. They all wanted him, to do all this stuff in WWE. Now Matt Hardy's big time Matt Hardy. You think anybody cares about that? Hell no. Same thing with Miro. Oh, I can't wait
Oh
for
my God, that's an
And
atrocity
what is he
right
doing?
there.
He's a joke. He's a goddamn lackey to Kip Saban. Give me a break. But you know what pisses me off the most is that anybody that watches AEW and loves it, loves all of it. But if WWE was doing it, they would shit all over it, and they have. I don't understand it. It bothers me so much. I got so heated when I was reading Twitter yesterday about the signing of Paul White. Like, I'm happy for him. I'm glad he's got work and all that. But don't come after WWE and then be happy about it now. You go ahead and you tell me what you think of it. But
I think that, the problem with Big Show has been a problem I had when I was with them in 2000 and 2001 working with Ed Cohen, is that Big Show, to get the max value out of the man, he needed to be used in moderation. And WWE doesn't know moderation since 1997 or so. And I attribute that to your buddy, which is one of his negatives. And I mean that with Vince Russo creative. There is no moderation in his creative. If Big Show was only on TV, once or twice a month, the fans might be much more interested to see what Big Show was going to do, as opposed to be on TV in several segments a lot of the time, week after week after week, year after year after year, heel turn after babyface turn, after heel turn, after babyface turn, after heel turn. As far as AEW landing him, I say good for the Big Show. To those that think he may have done something wrong, you know what? Big Show isn't even 50 years old yet. If that man feels like he has something left to contribute and wants to be more than a WWE ambassador or a legend, good for him for going out there. If he got paid, if he was just swayed by the money that was offered by AEW, same thing. Good thing for the man as long as he's happy. If WWE didn't want to utilize him in a way he wanted to be utilized or contribute to the sport the way he wanted to contribute, you know what? Who is any wrestling fan to tell Paul White what to do with his life in his future endeavors? So I say, you know what? If WWE, I have no idea. I am anxious to find out what went on behind the scenes. I'm hoping to get some inside scoops about that, because those types of things interest me a great deal. But as far as Paul White, the human being, good for him. As far as AEW, are they getting a guy in his prime? Absolutely not. Are they getting a guy that has name and recognition value? Absolutely. And you know what? At a time when AEW is trying to come up with creative ways to get new fans to sample their product, you might need to overpay a little bit for a Sting. You might need to overpay a little bit for a Big Show. Like I said, I'm not the world's biggest fan of the ideas of Shaq and Mike Tyson. When Vince had Tyson, look at Tyson's age and at the level of popularity the man had at the time, as opposed to trying to use Mike Tyson in 2020. You know what I mean? Same thing with Shaq. He's almost 50 years old. It's not like this is the 1993 Orlando Magic Shaq that's going to be coming to Daly's place. So, you know what? I say it's a positive attempt for AEW. Is it going to succeed in the long run? Who knows? As long as he isn't overexposed, I don't see anything negative coming from it. I think he's a great face to have on their promotional pieces, on television commercials. One thing I was impressed by was the ads that they took out on NBC Sunday Night Football this year, especially where WWE is technically an NBC property, where they're on the USA Network. So, you know what? I don't think it hurts anybody. It doesn't hurt WWE, as they've done nothing with the man for several years now. I mean, the last incident of substance I remember with Big Show was probably when Big Show slammed him through, when Braun Strowman slammed him through the steel cage and on a Raw out in Los Angeles before he had hip surgery. He's done nothing of meaning since then. And again, for AEW, I mean, if it gets over, keep pushing him. If it doesn't get over, okay, at least you have someone that's been on national wrestling television for 26 years. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with anything. So, like I said, I have always liked I've always liked Paul White or Big Show, whatever one you want to call him. I didn't see anything wrong with AEW signing. That's all I'm trying to get. I'm just mad at the fans. You know what I mean? That's pretty much what I was going after, because I just don't understand. You poo-poo all over what WWE does, but then you love him because he signed with it just blows my mind. But whatever. Like I said,
You know, one thing, it surprises me a little bit, and I'm not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, but where AEW is so new, I guess maybe I don't understand the unconditional love that AEW gets. I can kind of understand it for WWE, where it's a company that's been around since the 1960s, even earlier in some ways, before it was under the WWF brand name. But man, those AEW fans, they die hard when it comes to that product, for better or worse. And I think, as I usually say, there's 1 or 2 killer segments each week that I think are great. And then there's some things on the show that I think are complete and utter garbage that have no place on a national wrestling television show, as we saw this week.
Right, like I say about AEW, people like, oh, they beat NXT every week. You know what? They only get 700 to 800,000 fans. And you got to remember, those guys that they're beating them with are all main eventers from WWE. NXT doesn't have any WWE main eventers on that show, and they're literally going neck to neck.
No, they do have Finn, but
that's it. And give me a break. You know, Finn was what, in a cup of coffee on the main roster. You know what I'm saying? As the champion. So
I just think those that look at it from that perspective need to come to the reality of Dynamite is AEW's A brand,
right?
NXT is WWE's C brand.
That's what I'm trying to say to you. Is like, and people will cry. Oh wow, you put AEW against Monday Night Raw, they ain't beating them. They're gonna get their 700,000 fans, or they might not even get as many, because there are a lot of diehards that still watch WWE and Raw.
With the roster that TNA had back in 2010, look at what happened when they went head-to-head with Raw.
Right, they couldn't even compete.
They got decimated, and
people forget who was on that roster. I mean, you had a great roster.
Hogan, Flair, Hardy, AJ Styles. I mean, we could go on and on with what was on that roster. Angle.
Well, the one other thing that I wanted to say to you about it, like, when you think of AEW, what their biggest catch was, we're going to make stars. We're going to create stars. All their stars have been old WWE guys that have been champions now. That's it. When are they going to create a star? When are they creating a star? Please tell me.
I think it would be fair to say that Paige, Omega, and the Young Bucks are more well-known now than they were before they started.
No, that's not. No, come on.
You really don't. You think there's as many people now today as there were back in October 2019 that would know them?
Because when I used to go to the Ring of Honor shows and watch it all, they knew him. They loved him. I'm waiting for a guy like we're talking about right now, Ricky Starks. Let's see if they can make him a household name. That's what I want to see. You know, something like that. Someone that don't, or like we just talked about, you know, somebody like that, you know, even, I don't even know, name a couple other guys they have, you know what I'm saying? And make them the mainstay, like WWE does right now.
Yeah,
you know what
I mean, I would try and be looking to make, for it to work at its finest, you should be looking to create one new main event a year.
Well, but they haven't even done it. John Moxley, Kenny Omega, that's their battles right now. You know, Lance Archer could be someone they could, but he's still wrestling on the middle of the card. Yeah, the main event, but you know what I'm saying? He's not in the title hunt yet. I think he should have got the title first and run through it. No, you gave it to Jericho, which I understand because you want to establish the company. But my thing is that their catch line was, we're going to make stars. When's the star happening? Because all the stars have been already household names pretty much, and half of them have been WWE guys.
Well, if you run down the listings of their pay-per-view at the top of the card, guys, again, we may disagree a little bit as far as how over Paige, Omega, and the Young Bucks might have been. But as far as other than that goes, you're right. There's virtually no one.
Right. And I'm just waiting because they were supposed to be the alternative WWE because they can do it. Well, they haven't done it, and WWE still does it. WWE created Seth Rollins. You know what I mean? They created all these guys that were nobody. You know what I'm saying? And made them champions and put money in their pockets and made them famous.
I'll tell you this. I would work for very little. And you know what company I'd like to work for. But as far as what I would like to, what I could do with AEW and their undercard and middle of the pack guys, I would love it. I wouldn't even want to work with the stars. Just give me the mid and the undercard guys. And what I could come up with for that, Please,
Right.
sir. Please, please. But we are running out of time. The top of the hour is coming up. We're going to be
Yes,
joined
sir.
by the man that likes to rock, the man that hasn't stopped rocking since the 80s, unfortunately. Maybe that makes for a better TV show. I don't know. But Mr. Marty Jannetty is going to join us for Wrestling Insider's Party with Marty, where we discuss the deaths of Butch Reed and Danny Hodge, along with cocaine with Coco Beware and a Philadelphia, Pennsylvania shootout. Unbelievable. And then again tomorrow night at 10 p.m. after the conclusion of SmackDown at the Thunderdome, John Cena Sr.'s dome lights up when we have a great 45-minute or so discussion about what's going on in AEW. Great way to end the week. If you missed any of the big talk shows this week, don't forget, after Dave and I's review of SmackDown on Saturday night at 9, we have Wrestling Insider's Week in Review at 10. It is one-stop shopping for all of the great in-studio shoot interviews. Sometimes those episodes run 3 to 4 hours. So almost like Saturday night's main event, minus the wrestling, only with the memories themselves.
Right on. I can't wait.
All right, well, it sounds like you're ready to use the bathroom right now, so I guess we'll leave it at that for a man who's awaiting next Valentine's Day like a pit bull looking at his steak, Dave Carter. I'm Dan Mirade. We'll see you Saturday night at 9 for our SmackDown review. Be well. We'll see you at 10 with Marty Jannetty. The World Wrestling Federation was live at PNE Coliseum in Vancouver, British Columbia, Monday, February the 25th, 1985. In the opening contest, Gama Singh beat Moondog Spot. Buddy Rose with the win over Pat Patterson. Bret Hart defeated the Spoiler. The Iron Sheik victorious over the Cobra. Tito Santana beat WWF Intercontinental Champion Greg the Hammer Valentine via disqualification. And in the main event, Andre the Giant and Mr. USA Tony Atlas, who replaced Blackjack Mulligan, defeated Big John Studd and Ken Patera in a Texas Tornado match. If you were in Vancouver live, share your memories in the comments section below. Use the links in the description box to keep Wrestling Legends working in our eBay store and on our acclaimed Patreon streaming service so we can bring you more interactive superstar shoot interviews to relive the good old days of professional wrestling. Check it out. Boston Wrestling Sports in the MWF explodes into a new year with professional wrestling content galore and need you to join our family. Every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. after our Monday Night Raw review, it's Wrestling Insiders at your house with WWE Hall of Famer Mr. USA Tony Atlas. Wednesday nights at 10 p.m. after NXT and AEW, join rotating legends on Wrestling Insiders Special Edition. Every Thursday night at 10 p.m. after our NXT and Dynamite review, it's Marty Jannetty's no-holds-barred sex, drugs, and rock and roll journey on Wrestling Insiders Party with Marty. Friday night after SmackDown, don't miss John Cena Sr.'s Wrestling Insiders Fabulous Fridays. Plus, look for classic clips, history videos, bonus live episodes, pay-per-view watch-alongs, and more. For less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks, get early ad-free access to our Wrestling Insider talk shows, our acclaimed studio shoot interview DVD library, and help keep Wrestling Legends working during the worst of times. Join our growing family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling. Expect the unexpected in 2021.